devil is due.
You know that the general consensus in Hannibal is that thus far, Mizumono, aka the season 2 finale, is widely regarded as one of, if not the best, Hannibal episode to date. Well, scratch that, because there will now be many saying that The Wrath of the Lamb is Hannibal's finest hour, and I am one of them. In the season 3 finale of Hannibal, with Francis Dolarhyde having abducted Reba at the ending of last week's episode, what was the Great Red Dragon going to do next? After the horrific events that fell the way of Dr. Frederick Chilton, you would begin to fear the worst. And as Dolarhyde began to set the house ablaze to keep Reba from the wrath of the dragon, Dolarhyde just couldn't stand by. He had grown too much care for Reba over the past months, and that compassion is what saved her. He set the scene for Reba to believe he had taken his own life, and then went straight on the hunt. Only his target on the hunt this time was Hannibal Lecter. So, Will and the FBI knew that Dolarhyde would be jumping at any chance he had to get his hands on Hannibal. All they needed now was for Hannibal to play the bait. And look how that turned out for Chilton. Would you be so keen to stick your neck on the line? I think not. Knowing what might come of it and using past events as an example, Hannibal also wasn't too keen on the idea. But he was open to the offer. The only catch was that Will be the one to ask him. And after giving Hannibal exactly what he wanted, the stage was set. In knowing that Dolarhyde was intending to go after Hannibal, the FBI, as they seem to always do, thought they had everything in check. But as we all know, whenever Hannibal and Will are involved, one can never predict the outcome. Welcome to the top 5 moments of the episode, followed by the overall verdict.
I can't give you to him. You know what he will do.
No.
He will bite you.
After abducting Reba and bringing her back to his home, Dolarhyde intended to burn her along with himself, to save her from the wrath of the dragon. But when push came to shove and the house was ablaze, Dolarhyde just couldn't do it. He couldn't stand by and watch Reba burn. Turns out Dolarhyde is still alive. The whole charade with Reba was a setup to make everyone believe that the dragon had taken his own life. But after ambushing Will back at his motel room, Dolarhyde surprisingly wasn't there for Will. His target was the man who betrayed his trust, and Will was the perfect catalyst to allow that to happen.
I want to meet Lecter. How would I manage that?
You intend to release me into police custody. Police are not as wise as you are. I might escape in earnest and come to kill you.
Hannibal had his offer, agreed to the terms set out by Alana, aid the FBI in attempting to apprehend Dolarhyde, and all privileges, his books, his paintings, his toilet, will be restored. It's just that the offer that was given to Hannibal was slightly different to that of the real plan. And as the plan was set in motion, Dolarhyde surprised everybody by crashing the party early, allowing Hannibal to make his escape.
He's not going to kill us here. What he wants to do requires something a little more private.
He's watching us now.
I know.
In honest truth, I could have put this whole segment as 5 moments in itself. After Dolarhyde foiled the escape plan, Hannibal took Will back to his cliffside home, and as they both awaited the arrival of the dragon, they discussed Hannibal's inconvenient compassion that he felt towards Will. And then, all hell broke loose. Dolarhyde made his sudden entrance by shooting Hannibal in the lower back, and thus came the inevitable flow of blood, as all 3 men fought, each taking a tremendous amount of punishment. Finally, together, Hannibal and Will were able to take down the Great Red Dragon.
This is all I ever wanted for you, Will. For both of us.
Emerging together, victorious over the Great Red Dragon, Will knew that he just couldn't let Hannibal go. And as he said to Bedelia, can't live with him, can't live without him. So Will's final act was to follow through on that statement.
Rushing through my veins.
My overall verdict for the Season 3 finale of Hannibal is a full 10 out of 10. What an absolutely masterful episode. No kidding, my mouth hit the floor for the final 20 minutes as I was in shock and awe of what I was watching. I don't think I have ever said, oh my god, what the f***, as much as I have in that final ending segment. It was bloody, suspenseful, thrilling, the ultimate height of what a TV show should aim to be. Never has a series been so bold over the years to enter the darkness as it has, and, in keeping with the run of seasons ending on a cliffhanger, keeps the tone in quite literally this case. As expected, it leaves every Hannibal fan just wanting more and more. I still hope somewhere that we will get it, whether it's a year, 2 years, hell, I'll wait 5 years if we can get another 3 to 4 seasons of this show. Brian has said himself that it's a great place to leave it for a couple of years if need be, so let's hope somewhere down the line, whether it be soon or in a few years, the story of Hannibal Lecter will continue. Now then, let's talk about the episode itself. Damn, where to start? I must admit, I was quite surprised to see Chilton again. I was expecting him to be in a recovery unit that we never got to witness. But then, looking back to Season 1 when Georgia Manchin had a problem with her own skin, she used a similar recovery unit to nurse her back to health. Just that time, Hannibal set a trap, so kind of a little bit different circumstances, I guess. So let's talk the fake-out death by Dolarhyde, which followed exactly as many would have thought. Following the book/movie route, Dolarhyde faked shooting himself before the presence of the helpless Reba, before setting out towards his intended target. But unlike the other sources, where Dolarhyde went directly after Will and his family, his intention here was to use Will to get to Hannibal. It was an interesting mix-up which played perfectly into Hannibal and Will's story. So the plan was laid at the feet of Hannibal to accept or not. Alana tried, and she received one of the best speeches of the show as Hannibal tormented her by telling her that she died in that kitchen, and that ever since then she has been living on borrowed time. She wasn't safe, her family wasn't safe, and all of them belonged to him. And when Hannibal says it, you better well believe him. I'm actually quite pleased, that Alana lived at the end, as I thought before the episode aired she was definitely going to be a goner. But the way that the episode was structured anyway wouldn't have worked out if somehow Hannibal was able to kill Alana. That part of the story will have to wait. Who knows? Maybe Hannibal getting to Alana was the endgame plan for Season 4. So the plan to hand Hannibal over to the FBI, naturally, didn't sit too well with Alana. They don't exactly have a great track record. And upon hearing the news of Hannibal's true escape, she and her family quickly hightailed it the hell out of there. Can't really blame them for that. But we got the promised glimpse of Margot and the Verger's son. The escape though, that was my main prediction for the finale. Will he or won't he? But as soon as the plan was to start transporting Hannibal, you knew somewhere that there was going to be a bump in the road. It just came out of the blue in the form of Dolarhyde, who dispatched the police that were escorting his truck. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but Hannibal has always had a great sense of humour, but I just couldn't help myself after Dolarhyde helped break Hannibal out. It was just the way that Hannibal so nonchalantly moved the dead police officers out of the way without a care in the world, got in the car, picked up Will, and drove off into the sunset. And what followed on from that came the most jaw-dropping and astonishing conclusion to the third season of Bryan Fuller's epic series. I really can't explain how magnificent this finale was. I never thought another episode like Mizumono would come along, but how glad I am that I was wrong. The Wrath of the Lamb exceeds that of its predecessor, matching it step by step, if not beating it. Hannibal and Will's conversations made notable mentions of past characters that he brought there, such as Abigail and Miriam Lass, which just helps bring the story together as a whole, tying up past events brilliantly together. They knew that Dolarhyde was watching them, and he made his emphatic entrance in fashion by shooting Hannibal in the lower back. He wanted to record Hannibal's death and meld him with the strength of the dragon. Then the next scene, I imagine, shocked quite a lot of people. As both Dolarhyde and Will reached for their weapons, Dolarhyde struck first, stabbing Will in the face. I didn't want to give that away in my predictions video, because it was really the surprise and shock that it would cause. Hell, I was expecting something along the lines of it, but it still shocked me to actually see it play out. Even the twitch on Hannibal's face showed some of the emotion. Will got disfigured in the book and shot in the film, and the way that Bryan likes to meld each material together, you knew somewhere that Will was going to be in trouble. Poor guy, even more scars to add to his collection. I think he might be annoyed with me actually, saying that Chilton was vying with him for the toughest man alive title. Nonetheless, Will didn't take the attack lying down. He fought back valiantly, with both him and Dolarhyde landing stab after stab before Hannibal joined the fight. And as the pair joined together side by side, each heavily wounded, they fought and defeated the Great Red Dragon. I didn't notice it on first watch, you know, but did you see when Will was ripping his final knife thrust across Dolarhyde, Hannibal actually bit out Dolarhyde's voice box. It was subtle to see, but extremely brutal. And let's not forget the shot as Dolarhyde bled out. The blood ran into the image of wings as the Great Red Dragon was no more. The embrace that followed between the pair spoke volumes about how the show is centred around the two of them. It was all Hannibal ever wanted for Will, as Will's last action was to send them both over the cliffside. Hannibal as a show on the whole has always had a habit of finding the perfect theme and tune to enhance the effect of the scene. I think the song this time is called Love Crime, but it was absolutely spot on, just like the Mizumono theme was. A lot of people are deliberating between if Hannibal and Will are alive or dead. The answer, to me at least, is pretty straightforward. Bryan Fuller has always intended to have 6 or 7 seasons, and season 4 was to focus on a new aspect of Hannibal and Will's relationship. So yes, they are alive, if we ever get more seasons. Oh, and some of those song lyrics? I will survive. And finally, onto that after credits scene. So what did people make of it? To state the obvious, we see Bedelia at the dinner table with one of her legs being served as the main course. Some people think that Bedelia had done it to herself, resigned to the inevitable. There are a few different theories to that ending that I've seen already, but to me, it looks like a small time jump, much like the one we saw in the after credits scene of the season 2 finale. Bedelia this time though, is the meat on the menu, much like how Abel Gideon was. But the devil is in the detail. Look at how many seats are surrounding that table. 3. This to me signifies Hannibal and Will's survival. Of course it will be down to season 4 to confirm it, But come on, it was a fantastic way to end the season. If not, we get more episodes. Let's pray we do. If this is to be the end of Hannibal, then we have had one hell of a ride, and I, for one, have enjoyed every single second of it. Talks about a renewal are set to continue again following this season finale, so let's just keep some hope that someone with some sense is still out there, and keen to save this quite magnificent show. Stay tuned in the next couple of weeks for my full Season 3 review, followed by my pick for Season 3's top moments. I want to take a moment to thank all of you for watching this series. It really does mean the world, and keep an eye out for any future series that I may have planned. As always, leave a like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you on the next one.